Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your girl, JRose. Welcome to the JRose Experience. We have a dope episode for you today. I met with Light Bright, an up-and-coming poet who shared her experience as the new poet on the block. I also sat with veteran poet Dennis Amadeus, who talked about what he learned from working with incarcerated youths. Together, we dove into the mental health world from an artistic perspective, and we had a blast playing CultureTags during our Off the Top segment, so make sure you stick around and keep growing. JRose, welcome to the JRose Experience. I have yet another amazing episode for you guys today. Two amazing guests, and we are going to meet our first one. She is an up-and-coming poet and writer based out here in Florida. She is new to the scene, but she's out here making waves with her poetry, and I'm really honored to have her here. Sharing this first experience with her. So please give a warm welcome to my first guest, Light Bright.
Hello.
Hi. How are you?
Wonderful. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, and I'm really excited to meet you because, like I said, you're an up-and-coming rising poet. Mm-hmm. So it's poets like you that I feel like I learn a lot from.
Really?
I do because, I was in your place a long time ago. Mm-hmm. So when I meet new poets that are rising and kind of getting their footing into the scene, I'm always fascinated. I always want to know what your experience is like because it's different for everybody.
Yes,
right?
Definitely.
So now that you're out here on stage, right?
Yes.
First of all, what even led you to step on the stage to start performing?
Well, for my poetry, for me writing, I've always been a writer.
Of course.
But for me doing poetry, it started with my father giving me the advice, instead of trying to do music, because I wanted to be a rapper before.
Oh!
So my dad was like, but you can write it down into a poetic way. Mm-hmm. And so he's definitely a big influence on that. And so I was like, okay, so I'm going to write out my feelings, how I'm feeling, which is helping me, mentally as well. It's very therapeutic.
Yes.
And so I was like, let me just start writing how I feel into poetry.
So naturally you're a writer, so stepping into the writing poetry was probably an easy transition for you.
Yes, it wasn't that hard. I really don't like to force my work. That's one of me being a new writer. It's right, and it's I want it to be genuine. I want it to come from something real. I don't want to just be pulling words through the air. You know what I mean?
So purposeful writing.
Yes, purposeful.
I'm a big advocate for that.
Yes.
There's people that write 7,000 poems and it's they all sound the same. It's all trash. But so you gotta have some purpose. So what made you step off the paper to actually share your poetry in front of people?
Well, speaking in front of any amount of people, I love talking. I love speaking to a crowd. It's fun. It's nice. And so,
you weren't scared?
No, I was not scared. It was I had my first performance was actually here in Tampa at Smoking Words.
I was there.
Yes. So that was my first performance I did. Here I go. And once I got on the stage, everything went away. It's I was at home. But before, of course, I had the little jitterbugs and everything like that. But once I touched that stage, it felt like home.
She sounds like me. Well, not my first experience. I was nervous the entire time and nothing went away. But I still, even though I've been performing for 6-7 years, I still get nervous. But it goes away when I hit the stage.
When you get on stage, it goes away, right?
Yeah. So as an up-and-coming poet in the scene, you're kind of new to the scene. Are there any challenges that you face stepping into this space?
It's been really welcoming for me, the poets that I've been encountered by.
Good.
Which is really nice. Mm-hmm. I haven't had any bad experiences thus far. Although, yes, it is the beginning for me, so it's hey, you're a little child in the game, so it's going to change once, maybe, I don't know, further down the line with me doing shows and everything like that. So But so far, it's been pretty good.
What feels the most natural for you?
As far as my writing?
As far as performance.
The whole performing?
Yeah.
The most natural thing is just talking to the crowd. When I first get on the stage, I'm just like, hey, how y'all doing? And they're feeding off what I give off. And people don't understand. Energy is a big thing. So it's like, if you're up there and you feel energy, of course, you have to keep going on with the show. But if you have a great energy, what's coming, feeding off of you from the crowd, you can definitely perform, and do well. That's how I feel.
Right.
So if the energy's bad, you just got to, kick it off and just brush it off and continue to shine your light.
Right.
Which is like
your light, right?
Yeah, right. So I'm real big about light and energy.
That's great. And it's important for you as a rising poet and new to the scene to really try to hold on to that, because in any space where you are creative or you're displaying your craft, things can get a little judgmental, or maybe things don't work out the way you want them to work out. So maintaining that mentality is going to be really great. And it's great that you have this now, because some people actually don't have that mentality at first.
Wow,
so they do get discouraged. So kudos to you for having that.
Thank you.
Are there any local, because everybody knows the famous poets, right?
Yes,
we all know the Maya Angelou's that inspire us, and the Ursula Ruckers out there.
Yes.
But for you, as far as locally, are there any poets that you really look up to and you feel like you're aspiring to not be like them, but to get to that level? Yeah.
Definitely the first I would have to say is Modern Medusa. She's from St. Petersburg. Love her. She's amazing. I love you, girl. She's like a mentor to me. Like, I love her. I also Nova Kane. She's awesome.
Right. We recently met her as well.
She's over on Spoken Word.
Yes.
I love her work. I got two more. I'm not gonna go down big list.
She's like,
but I also like Rachel Two Height. She's nice, and I like J Lotus as well. She's wonderful. She's a great artist. You do? Okay.
So with those people that you kind of look up to in the scene, you kind of mentioned Modern Medusa, who's kind of like a mentor to you.
Yes.
How pivotal has that been for you?
It's been amazing for her to just talk to me and encourage me, even to do like a book maybe one day. That's like what she has so many books, and I believe she recently dropped a book. She's dropping one recently.
She's got like 7,000
Yeah, this would be like the 7th one, I believe. So I'm like, what? And it's so inspiring. She's young, she's vibrant, she's doing things in the community, in Hillsborough, like Tampa area, Bay Area. So I just admire that.
So for you, where do you see you taking your poetry in the next couple of years?
Definitely a book. I would love to just everything from what I've started, and to see the growth within my writing into a book, to have it in a book so people can see the growth that I've gone through and that I'm still going through. I'm a beginner. I say that and I'm just like...
It never stops.
Yeah, so I think... so as you're saying, it never stops. I think growing never stops. Like,
absolutely not.
Even you still can learn, so... I'm excited for the future with my poetry.
Listen, our catchphrase here at the JRose Experience is keep growing.
Yes, I noticed that.
So we believe that. So now I see, as far as writing, you want to lead yourself into a space where you're publishing books. But what about performance-wise?
I want to perform more.
Okay.
I do.
Do you have like somewhere... that's like a goal that you would love to, like, what stage would you love to, like, bless?
A stage? Now that's like, I haven't thought about exactly a stage. That's a big
Are there
one.
like big platforms that you like are like, wow, I can't wait till one day I'm on there?
Yours, when I looked at your stuff, this is like amazing, like awesome. Like, this is my second performance that you guys will see. So it's like, I'm just so excited. I'm so glad that you reached out to me. So this is really big for me. This is going to be a really big monumental moment in my career.
I'm so honored to be a part of that process and that journey. If you're ever in New York, I do host events, but there are some also major stages in New York that you should definitely look into.
I never even been to New York, so that's like,
let's get Light Bright in New York. Let's start a GoFundMe and bring her out.
I would love it. Yes, of course.
Oh, amazing, amazing.
More work with you anytime. I would love it.
All right, so I have a fun question for you.
Okay.
If you were walking down the street and you found a magic lamp Then all of a sudden, this genie appeared and said he's gonna grant you 3 wishes, but you can't wish for more wishes. Okay, that's
just 3.
Just 3 wishes.
Okay.
What are your 3 wishes?
3 wishes. My first wish would be that when anyone come encounter with me, they feel loved and they will always have a mark in their heart when they meet me. I'm so special about that. My second wish, which I know it's not possible, but I would love to live for a long time.
I mean, it's your wish.
It's for a long time.
What's a long time? Like
a long
7,000 years?
I don't want to be too. No, I wouldn't want to be like too old. Because then all my friends would be gone, and I'll just be here alone.
So you want to live until your last friend dies?
Well, I want to live for my family too. So it's not about just friends.
Okay.
So I just want to be around to see my grands.
Oh, okay. We got one more wish.
Okay, my last wish. Oh, this is a good one. I never thought you got
say, "Ooh, this is a good one."
So my last wish would be that my poems would touch the brokenhearted, and that they will still continue to believe and love and all the fairy tales, and let them know that it's possible and that God is love.
Oh.
So yeah, I want
light bright A over here with all the light and love. World
I don't want to
peace.
be cliche, but yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah,
if that's what's true in your heart,
it really is, yeah.
And that's what's going to fulfill you, then hey,
it really would. Yes.
Let's all get along and love each other. I mean, how hard can that be? Right?
From some people it is.
Amazing. I know you brought some poetry with you.
Yes, I did.
Are you going to share it with us?
Yes, I am. Y'all going to hear Never Giving Up on Love.
See? It's going to be some light, inspiring, and lovely shit.
Yes,
I'm here for it. I'm here
yes,
for all of
yes.
it. All right, so we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to have a performance from Light Bright. Stay tuned.
This is Never Giving Up on Love. A fighter, a survivor, a lover. Yeah, that's me. Never giving up on love. You see, there have been many men that have given me the reason to make me want to throw my hands up and say, forget it. I'm over it. I'm done. But deep down I know the woman, the queen that I am, oh no, I won't throw in the towel in for no one. To stop my true blessings from reaching me. To stop my king from finding me. All because of lack of knowledge these so-called men, I mean boys, had for me. So really will I give up because of them? Oh no, they won't win. To my king, I'm here waiting patiently for you to rescue me and to fully show me the love that I deserve. Never giving up on love because yes, in a way, I don't remember my worth, but I'm slowly growing, learning, and showing that love and worth within myself that was once clouded and blocked by these jerks. I'm here to say my baby, my love, my sweetheart, that woman is still here. So I'll be waiting patiently and praying for you to find me. Once again, I'm never giving up on love.
Hey, Swing. I'll just grab another one on the way.
Nothing much. I'm calling to check in. We still having game night tonight, right?
So do you have any kids?
No, not at the moment. Actually, no.
Ask him about his kids in the future?
What?
All right, guys, welcome back. Welcome back to the JRose Experience. I am your host, JRose. I'm here with my next guest today. He is a spoken word poet. He is a slam champion, a youth activist. He has traveled all over the U.S. to perform his poetry. And he has a poetry/music album that's out right now called Waiting on the Bus. So please give a warm welcome to Dennis Amadeus. King, how are you?
It's great.
I love your shirt, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
It says, "Ask me to do a poem." I like that. I wouldn't wear it because I don't like to be put on the spot, but I
get that a lot.
I respect it. So thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
I'm really honored to have you. I've heard a lot of great things about you. So, you know, I mean, some bad things, but we're not, no, I'm just kidding.
I wouldn't be surprised, man.
Haters, right?
Yeah. You're always somebody's villain.
Listen, that's
no
a
matter
fact.
how good you are.
So I wanted to ask you about Black on Black Rhyme, right? That is an international poetry collective.
Yep.
How did you end up in a space where you are working with international poets?
Well, Black on Black Rhyme was something that was really cultivated in Tallahassee, Florida.
Really?
It was founded by a poet named Keith Rogers, and it started as something in his. It was in his literally in his living room in his apartment. So it would be a bunch of poets that came by. They would literally drive by, spit a poem. There'd be food and stuff, and a lot of people would leave because it was so packed in the house that there wasn't a lot of room. There wasn't a lot of room, and
that's
so
dope.
that's where this term "drive by" came from, and that's a term that came with Black on Black Rhyme as it grew. From Tallahassee, this culture was so new and fresh, this idea of just people getting in the house, sharing poetry, being real, being honest, talking real stuff. It grew so much that eventually it blossomed out, and the first person to bring it out of Tallahassee was Wally B. He's here from Tampa. So the first chapter outside of Tallahassee was here in Tampa Bay, actually, and it was in 2001. It was originally started September. And,
wow.
I think I got that date right, hopefully. But so anyway, long story short.
Man here.
long story short is it blossomed from there, and it continued because Tallahassee is a big college town, so a lot of people would find themselves in Black on Black Rhyme and then carry it out to other places. So there's been chapters in North Carolina, South Carolina. There was one in New York at one time. There's one in Abu Dhabi right now as we speak.
Wow, Abu Dhabi.
Yeah. There used to be one in
That's
Singapore.
really dope.
There's one in Jacksonville. There's one in West Palm Bay, West Palm Beach, and it's so cool because everybody has their own style. So when you go to all these other Black on Black Rhymes in these other cities, it's all their own show based on the person that brought it. But it all comes from this heart of Black on Black Rhyme in Tallahassee. So I got involved. I'm sorry, I got involved with it here in Tampa. So basically, Phil Scott was carrying it over because it was running for 11, 12 years. And
wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. And then Phil Scott carried it over, and then he got it from Life and Wally, and when he carried it over, he wanted to start a new troupe, and then I was up and coming at the time. He liked what I was bringing, so me and Curtis, and there was a bunch of other poets. He started with that troupe, and so that's how I got indoctrinated into it through Tampa.
Now, for you as a poet, because you've been doing this for a while now, you are a vet.
Yeah.
You're young, but
you've
you've been doing this poetry thing for a long time, and you've been a leader in the community as well. So for you as a poet, what was one of the most pivotal moments in your journey as a poet?
I'll tell you the truth about this, because it wasn't something that had to do with being on stage. My most pivotal moment was when I went to a competition in Phoenix, Arizona. It was called iWhips, and I ended up not placing well at the competition. But after the competition, I went with a poet named Matthew Cuban, and we went out he lived in LA at the time, and he was doing workshops with juveniles in a juvenile detention center out there in LA. And he knows my poetry, he's seen me coming up, and he told me that I would do well there. And now I was nervous because this wasn't a regular juvenile detention center, right? And it was in LA. And I've never experienced, I've been around a lot of gang life and a lot of hood culture and things like that. But it was different there. It was really, really tough.
Yeah, were you in Compton out there?
It wasn't, I don't know where it it was Challenger Youth Detention Center. It's like in the outskirts somewhere, you know,
Right.
where they put jails as far away from society. But anyways, long story short is, you know, I went in there and I did my poem, and I didn't think these kids would want to listen to what I had to say. And it was a
Right.
poem about toxic masculinity and how we deal with like these things in our communities that force us to be hard when we don't want to be.
Right.
And yo, they loved it, man. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And these kids, they were, you know, I mean, some of them were gangsters. They were tied into gangs. They had really serious charges, but they related to what I was doing, and it opened up this really beautiful conversation. So long story short is that moment was when I was like, it gave me a purpose to my poetry that was bigger than just being on stage, bigger than just, you know, writing and getting clout. Not that I don't love that.
Yeah,
Not that I don't love
it's
that.
appreciated.
But
Thank you. Yeah.
that was the moment when I was like, this is the purpose of my art. You know what I'm saying? And then that's when I started getting really into youth development and using, because poetry is such a powerful tool to get young people who are silenced in every other avenue of their life to actually be able to look at their life, look at their trauma, look at the things they've gone through, and be able to write their own narratives based on how they perceive it, not based on what everybody tells them they should do or how they should perceive
you kind of like take that veil off for them.
Right, exactly.
Now, for you working with youth and being a youth activist, what have the youth taught you about yourself?
They constantly remind me that people are always going through way harder experiences that I am going through and have gone through, even though my experiences were tough, you know what I mean?
Right.
But I think the biggest thing they teach me all the time is hope. You know, they always come with such a fresh perspective. They're not beaten down by life. Even when they're beaten down by life, they're not that beaten down.
Yeah,
you know,
they're optimistic.
They're optimistic. They bring, you know, and they bring ideas that challenge me in my thinking. You know what I'm saying? And they keep me young. And so the thing I learned about mostly from hearing their poetry is hope for the future. Knowing that all this negativity that I'm so used to dealing with now is not the end. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's just my experiences from being this long in life. But there's people behind us who still believe the world is beautiful, who still want to heal it, who still want to, you know what I mean, make their lives better, make the world around them better.
Right.
And that is always a good, beautiful thing for me. It always reignites the fire in myself.
So to see that like the youth there's like hope in there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
it bothers me when people say like there's no hope in youth and like they're a lost generation, because they're actually. First of all, I feel like the younger generation is way more woke than we are at like an earlier age. Yeah. So like let's give respect to the youths because they definitely we don't give them enough credit, you know, and that's what takes their voices away. So having advocates like you not only teaching them but like leading them by example is really needed. So I commend you for providing that service to the community.
It's a blessing and it's an honor, and it's just a gift I happen to be good and effective with. I come from a lot of their situations. Even if it's not as harsh, I still understand the environments that can relate to me. I can guide them in whatever ways that I have either failed and learned or succeeded in. So it's mostly a blessing.
Have you ever worked with a youth that is now a little bit older and you like, how do you feel like a proud dad, a proud big brother?
So that's happening to me now. Because like I'm just getting to the age where the people I started working with in the beginning are getting older and they're adults now and they're becoming peers. They're coming back from college. They're doing all these dope shows. They're like my equals now. You know what I mean?
Yes,
so,
they caught up to you.
Yeah, man. And so that has been amazing, man.
Do you ever feel like, damn, I gotta step my game up because they coming hot?
That part, because that's the thing. Yo, they're coming back fresh from college, bro. And so they got bars, they got experience and education, man. And I'm like, oh, I gotta you know what I mean? They'll keep you on your toes,
dust that pen off,
they will keep you on your toes.
So tell me about your poetry music album, Waiting on the Bus.
Yeah, man.
What does the title mean to you?
Whew, man. So for 5 years, I had my license revoked because I made a lot of dumb decisions. You know what I mean? When I was
you took the bus a lot.
So
we've been there.
Right. But
riding dirty.
Hey, yo. So yeah, exactly. But for 5 years I had my license revoked and I didn't have a car, and you know, I didn't really have no way to get around, and so I had to use the bus system in Tampa. And like a lot
Florida, you need a car, like
bro. This bus system is crazy, bro.
He said, bro.
But that's a whole nother topic. But yeah, so I was using the bus system here a lot, and like I came down to Florida. I come from New York, you know what I mean? And I came down to Florida on suspicious circumstances, we'll say. And so my whole thing was like,
I love your transparency.
so my whole thing was like, I would be homeless in Florida before I go back to New York. So I had to grind, and I was by myself when I first got down here.
Right.
And so 5 years of being on the bus, and I wrote a poem about it, like in the hot Florida sun, and like, you know, but it gives you a lot of time to think. It gives you a lot of time to write. It gives you a lot of time to read. And like, I actually, in the long run, when I look back at it, as much as I hated having to run for the bus or wait for buses or be late all the time or try to get my hours right at work with the bus schedule and all that miserable stuff, in the long run, when I look back at it, it was like, yo, I learned so much. I grew so much through this process. You know what I mean? And then, so once I will never lose my license again. I protect my license like it's gold now.
Now you get in the car, you're like, seatbelts, mirrors.
Yeah.
Got my license is official.
Yeah, man. Yep. Make sure I'm legal all the way. But yeah, so that's what that album was about, was just chronicling those years and what I learned and what I grew through, how I grew through it.
Right. So I have a fun question for you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So if you were the new addition to the crayon box,
Ooh.
what color would you be?
Wow. I want to be diaspora. How about that color? The color diaspora.
I like that.
But that's the one thing
that.
people don't seem to get. Everything's got to be black and white, but there's so much in between. So,
Facts.
Right. You know.
Ooh, I like that.
It's a beige crayon that colors all different colors.
Ooh. I like that. That might be like your next poem.
Hey,
I hope I inspired something.
Yeah.
I know you brought some poetry with you for us.
I did. I got some poetry.
You gonna
for y'all.
share, right?
Yeah.
Right, because
Absolutely.
you know we gonna have some beef if you said no.
Oh no. I mean, I don't want beef with you, JRose. You got clout out here.
You mad tall. I don't fight tall people. All right, so we'll be right back with a performance from Dennis Amadeus. Stay tuned.
Yeah.
The Rose Garden Events is an arts and entertainment agency that cultivates creative growth. By curating open mics, talk shows, pop-ups, and retreats, we provide a platform for aspiring poets, musicians, visual artists, entrepreneurs, and more. We're excited to announce our new social media management and brand coaching services. That's right, you can now hand over the social media wheel, or we can guide you as you do it on your own. This is the one-stop shop where creativity is always blooming. For more info, visit us online at therosegardenevents.com. You can also find us on all social media platforms at The Rose Garden Events. Keep growing.
The name of this poem is called Yesterday. You can find it on the album Mansion Music by Psych Montano and Albert J. Is it still considered heaven's work if I get paid in hell? Down on earth, I paved my way to a well that I couldn't even drink from, while people with unblistered feet sipped water from uncalloused hands and laughed at my thirst, ate my offerings for dinner, then left me with the bill and the hurt. I needed a full course, but they just dessert. Savoring their flavor left my mouth dustier than the desert dirt, and with just about as much life, but with just about as much light. A sun that was scorching on a situation I was keeping myself in the dark for. I was told that there were no other options, that the whole world was watching. So blinded by their glare, I just ended up mirroring their mirages. So I beg your pardon, but I'm done with all this friendship. You're either blood or you're willing to shed it. No more living on the fences for people I don't even want on my estate. If you bring the soul food, then we can fix ourselves a plate. If you pour the concrete, then we can pave our own way. But I got a foundation to lay. I got family that needs safe places to stay. I got a heaven to build with only time to waste. So you can either get with it or get out of the way.
Whether it's tax season, the holidays, or whatever falls in between, you want to make sure that you're being smart with your money. So go visit my girl, Queen Candace, at the Queen Blueprint to learn how to gain your financial freedom. You could get a personalized debt payoff plan, a full financial overview, and learn to repair your relationship with money. Smarter money moves are waiting for you at www.thequeenblueprint.com or call 877-387-BLUE. Use code JRose20 for 20% off of all our financial services. This segment is brought to you by the Rose Garden Events. All right, so welcome back our guests. They are both back on set with me. We're going to have a pretty serious conversation, and then, we're going to get into a little bit of the fun stuff a little bit later. But today's group discussion topic is, I want to know, why do you guys think there's been such a rise in conversations surrounding mental health? I know maybe 10 years ago, people weren't talking about mental health the way they are now.
Right.
So why do you guys think this is now more of a household conversation that's happening?
I think there's been more cases of mental health going on. I mean, it's always been like something quiet and not talked about, especially amongst the community. But now it's more talked about, which is a good thing. I believe so. But yeah, I think it's because it's just been swept underneath the rug. But it's always been there. It's not like it hasn't been there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's always existed.
Right.
So,
but now it's more aware and more people are talking about it, which I think it's a great thing that more people are talking about it.
It needs to be.
I think so too. Yeah.
I mean, I think there's a lot. I think there's a lot more intentional research on mental health and how it affects people, and I think that's been really successful. I think it just wasn't taken, like you said, it wasn't taken serious before. Or it was only like mental. I think there was a big delineation between like mental health is you have like the hard mental illnesses like schizophrenia, bipolar disorder. You're in a mental institution, something like that, and anything else less than that is just you can get over it. You're having a bad time. Things like anxiety, depression, and stuff like that. There are people who are like, that's nothing. You're just sad. Get over it. But I think now, one, there's probably a rise in these things happen, or at least a rise in people being able to point a finger and be like, this is depression, because maybe I think a lot of people didn't even know what they were dealing with for a long time.
Right.
And so I think the education is out there that people can be like, this is depression, this is anxiety, this is ADHD, these are these kind of low level. And not to put a hierarchy on it, but more common, I guess, more you're able to deal with them a little bit.
They're more people. Yeah, like you said, people are able to manage. That's the word. Manage through. They're more manageable. Now, for you guys, I know that mental health is important for a lot of poets. I feel like I wish I had $1 for every poet that's ever told me that poetry saved their life. Right?
Yeah.
So in what ways has poetry helped your mental health?
Well, for me, it's getting it out, what I'm feeling, and not keeping it inside. Because keeping it inside, that kills you yourself.
Right.
And you're just like, oh my gosh, and you're thinking, oh, it's just me. And that's what I love, is that it's not just you. So you need to share it, get it out, talk to somebody, and don't feel that you're alone, because you're not. And I think with me writing and journaling, writing what's on my mind or what happened today, even if it could be the smallest things, but just getting it out and keeping other fresh things coming inside of your body, inside of your mind.
Right.
So you can continue to grow and, go about life.
Make that space.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, man. I mean, same here. I mean, poetry saved my life, I think, not in a mental health capacity, but in just giving me purpose and something to, go towards in life. And it made me have confidence in myself and gave me self-worth. And I'm like, I'm actually good at this. But so in that way, it saved my life because it gave me a life.
You had an outlet.
Yeah.
Right. But I think I think mental health, here's the thing is, I have been here a little bit. It's been in maybe 9 years in this thing. And when we first started, nobody was talking about not only mental health, because people were talking about mental health in the poetry world. Poets were talking about it.
Yeah.
Racism, sexism, gender issues, LGBTQ plus community issues. These were things that were only being talked about in full in these poetry worlds, in these poetry communities. And so I think a lot of people, there was nowhere else for them to be able to explore these things inside of them that were so relevant to their identity and who they were, other than these places. And so I think that is why so many are like, poetry saved my life. I had no idea, how to process and go through this stuff. But in this space, I had it. Not only did I have it, I had people that were going through it also. I had people that were willing to listen to me and love on me and say, hey, it's okay, and appreciate what I had to bring, not saying it was too dark or too much or blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And so I think when you hear that, that's what a lot of poets get. It's like, I was able to express myself honestly and authentically in this space and was loved for it. You know what I mean?
How do you feel about... Because I feel like there's this thin line between legitimate concerns about mental health and then people that just talk about it because it's more of a trendy thing.
Yeah, and
So how do you differentiate who's really serious about that mental health aspect and actually getting better and healing, and who's just talking about depression and anxiety because it's actually a cool thing now?
who's doing the work on themselves? Who's doing that mental health work on themselves, right? I think that's all, because they're gonna have the real perspective, because they know, one, it's hard work, it's tough work, it's real work, it's daily work, it's constant work, and so people who have that experience, you could just tell that they're not bullcrapping when they're speaking about it.
Right.
I mean, there's good bullshitters. Don't get it twisted.
Master bullshitters.
Yeah, you wouldn't even know. You're just like, wow, they really sold me on that, and they never been through nothing. Yeah. So you're right about that. Yeah, you're right about that. They can really fool you. Yeah.
Because that's the first thing. Like for me personally, when I was seeing all the mental health stuff, that's the first place I went. Well, what am I missing in my life, right? What are my mental health issues? What work can I do to make myself mentally stronger?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's what came first. And then I started going to therapy like fairly recent, to be honest. You know what I mean? I'm a little bit older, 33. Huh?
That's wonderful.
Yeah, but it was so good, and I just didn't expect it to be that. And I know everybody doesn't have the same experiences with every single therapist, but it was such a blessing, and it helped me work through so many things that I was holding on to inside that it was just so powerful. And I can't.
Have you ever been to therapy for
Yeah, I've been to therapy as well.
And how did you find that experience?
Through my mental health as well. I deal with my own mental health.
Right.
And went through therapy, and some, like, you weed out who's really there for you and who's not, who's just there to get a check. Some of them just,
they really,
drawing pictures while you're, and I know what you're feeling.
Taking notes. He's really ordering his lunch.
Right. So you weed out, who's there for you and who's not. And family can be there too for you.
Right.
You don't have to go. I'm not downplaying therapy, but I'm saying there's therapists in your family.
Right.
And you can go to them.
I guess this leads me to, what advice do you have for a creative, right? Because we deal with things differently, right? We process things differently because the way our minds work. So what advice do you have for creatives that may be dealing with a difficult, or may not even be able to acknowledge that they're going through a mental health issue? So what advice do you have for people to recognize that within themselves?
I mean, it sounds harsh, but you got to kind of do the work. You got to be honest with yourself. You know what I mean? It's all internal work, You got to be real. You got to be willing to accept the damages that you've caused in people's lives. You got to be willing to see how, you know what I'm saying? You got to be willing to talk to people and accept some real situations
and
about
accept
yourself.
help, because I'm sorry, I don't
No,
mean to
go.
But to accept help,
Yeah.
many people don't want it. And you have to be, and so it's about yourself, reflecting on yourself. You have to want the help.
And
accept it.
That pride, put it to the side.
Yeah, you have to accept it.
J. Cole
It's
said
tough,
it.
Man. And especially when and I want to add, as a man, that pride is ingrained in you, from society, from everybody around you, because that's how everybody got by. And I'm not saying that they're wrong, but it was just an older time, and that's how people maintain.
That was their
They
defense
shut it down and
mechanism.
move forward. You know what I mean? And so when you get ingrained into that, it's hard to ask for help, even when you're at your most vulnerable, because that thing in your head is always going to be but if I ask for help, I'm not being a man, because I'm not being independent, because I'm not being strong, because I'm not being, that's always there.
Do you feel like you deal with that? As I need to be a strong Black woman, so asking for help,
There's many, but me, I'll ask for help.
Good.
I'm like, something's up. What's going on?
Yeah.
Or I'll ask for advice.
Right.
And many people don't take advice. They be like, oh, this is how it is. This is what it is. No, you're wrong. And somebody's trying to help you.
Yeah.
Like, no, you're wrong.
Well,
I got this.
Right.
It's also the space that you're in, because sometimes, we've had this conversation off camera. You're not always looking for advice. Sometimes you're just looking for a space to vent and express yourself.
That's true too, yeah.
Sometimes you just want ears.
Yeah.
And that's where therapy is great, because you have an unbiased person sitting in the room.
Don't even know you.
Doesn't know you, doesn't know anything about you, and they're just going by what you tell them and their professional experience. So
and by the books as well.
And the books.
Yeah.
Yeah. So having friends and family is great, but for me, I think that the friends and family should be there to support what you're getting from therapy. This is great. Mental health is something really, really important.
Yes, yeah.
I want to add one thing too.
Yeah.
Like mental health isn't just therapy. It's a lot. There's a lot of broad things, and I just want to say that I know we all know that, but I want to make sure that's said out loud.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
mental health involves your diet. Mental health involves your exercise. It involves what you watch, what you read, what you study, where you're at, who your friends
The
are around.
relation. I was gonna
You know
say
what
the
I'm
people
saying?
you surround yourself with.
Even your family members, cause
Your
you know what I mean?
job.
Yeah.
Your
it
job,
does.
all of
Yeah.
these things matter. So, and like when you have to start gauging. The first step is always gauging when you're in these spaces, what is going on in your mind. Being mindful, trying to pay attention to your thoughts, your feelings, where they're coming from. That's always one of the first steps. But you get those tools. If you don't have them, those tools can be taught to you through therapy.
Through therapy,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's good.
Oh,
Yeah,
y'all
that's
were like deep in here. I like this.
Real, dog.
Yeah.
They high five. I love it. Air high five. You're far. All right, so thank you so much for sharing so much insight. I hope you guys got some great information from here and learned something, not just about these amazing poets, but about yourselves as well. But it's time to switch up the mood. Y'all ready to play a game?
Yes.
Let's go. Let's
I love games.
All right, so we call this segment Off the Top. It's because we play a randomly selected game. You never know what the game's gonna be. Sometimes we create something together. Sometimes we just play a silly game and have fun.
Okay.
So these are the game cards. We've got extra games this season. Your girl went and got creative.
Hey.
But I'll let you do the honors, my dear. Like, right?
Okay. I'm gonna pick this one. CultureTags.
Hey.
CultureTags! All right, that's a new game.
Let's go.
New to season 4, so new shit. We'll be right back, and we'll be playing CultureTags.
All right.
Stay tuned.
I'm so excited I got both my kids' appointments to get their hair done at Shining Star Kid Salon in Brooklyn, New York. The best part is, I get to pick up a couple of my favorite natural hair products like their Fearless Edge Control, or their Fearless Hair Oil. And these are just some of my favorite products to style my hair with. Head over to ShiningstarKidSalon.com to order from their line of natural products the whole family can enjoy. Or make an appointment if you're in town. Use code JRose20 at checkout for 20% off your online purchase. Keep growing.
This segment is brought to you by Gent and Scholar. All right, we are back and we are going to play our game. We are playing CultureTags. I hope you guys know a lot about the culture, and I hope you guys know, I hope your acronym game is on point, all right?
Okay.
So we have 2 categories I'll be reading from. It'll be, one is daily sayings and the other one is Black Twitter. Are y'all ready?
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to describe these acronyms. Some of them are hashtags, some of them are acronyms, and then you guys got to tell me what this stands for. Are you ready?
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So this is what somebody says when another person's being real dramatic about something.
I know it already.
What is it?
But did you die?
Yeah!
Good.
But did you die?
Yeah.
All right. First one goes to Dennis. All right, let me see.
I think I've used this enough in my life.
Okay. All right, so this one. This is probably something you hear from somebody from New York right before they're about to tell you something that happened. So they'll tell you, like, the way they start off the story is like, I want to say it so bad. So it's like another way.
It's not what had happened. What?
No, it's not what had happened,
right?
but it's like what had happened adjacent.
I don't know this.
A so B. Yeah.
Oh, you close.
A so bruh. No, A so.
Bet.
No,
It's A so.
it's not A, but it's.
A son.
I'm gonna give you one more guess and then I'll say it.
Okay. What you thinking?
I don't know. I'm from New York. I feel bad I can't get this one.
I'm not. I'm from the South.
One more guess.
I don't know.
Nah. I so boom.
Okay. Alright, so boom.
One for JRose.
That was a good
That's
one.
a throwback, though. Like
That is a
y'all still do
throwback.
that? Yeah, it is a
I
throwback.
know. Alright,
Okay.
so boom.
Yo.
We in the party.
Okay. This one comes from, this is the Daily Sayings. All right. When somebody has they have a responsibility and they don't do it right. And it was the only responsibility they had.
Oh, I know this one.
Oh my
Give
God.
her a second. Give her a second.
The only responsibility.
They had a responsibility.
You only had one job.
Yes!
There you go. There you go.
There we go. Ooh, I like this one. Okay. So, this one was like, okay, so during the pandemic, during the lockdown, a lot of people was doing this, right? They was in the house, they're bored in the house bored, and they turned on their television and did this.
Oh.
But this doesn't always mean that they watch the television. It always leads to something
You can do
else.
it. I don't even know.
Netflix and chill.
Yeah! Oh, yeah. Okay.
Somebody was busy during the pandemic. Okay.
With my wife.
He said with my wife.
That's right.
Talking about.
That's right.
Gotta put respect on that ring.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yo, these are hilarious. All right. So when somebody goes on a rant on Twitter or Facebook,
I said what I said.
Yeah, see?
That was easy.
Okay. All right. This phrase was made famous by a lady who was interviewed. And
Ain't nobody got time for that. I'm sorry.
You got it. Go ahead. You caught that one. I ain't got that one.
Yo, she got it. Mad quick. Okay. All right, let's see. All right. I think Dennis might get this. All right. You driving in the car with wifey, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then your boy calls you. What's the first question he asks you?
Oh, I know what it is.
You got me on speaker.
Yeah.
Yep.
Actually, it's reversed. It would be my wife calling me and like, "Hey, you got me on speaker."
Oh,
too?"
shit!
Yeah, take me on speaker, man.
Not
I do be doing that a lot, though.
Yeah.
You got me on speaker?
But when you say something like, hold on, wait, you got my speaker?
Yeah. Okay. You see this a lot, right? When people post something very inspiring, right? It's like a message, and they want to put it out there. They're like,
I don't know who needs to hear this, but
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good.
Am I good?
You're
at describing?
You're describing it really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. All right. So, when somebody's talking shit about you, right? And
Keep
you
that saying.
Yes!
Keep that saying when you see me.
Whoa.
When you see me, keep
Light
that
might be
saying.
snapping on people, dog. You already know.
Yo!
Light might be snapping, dog.
Listen. It's these cute ass little quiet
Oh my
poets. They be the first one to snap, alright?
Yeah.
Oh my.
Alright. Okay. So, this is the last one.
Okay.
I recently wrote this in my IG story because I had beef with Verizon. So so you in a situation that you dislike a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And you say how you feel about where you are. So somebody be like, oh, I don't know, what did I say? I'm like, Verizon, why you make it so hard for me to pay my bill?
I hate something. I hate it.
I hate it here.
Yes,
Oh,
I hate it here. I hate it here.
That was teamwork. That was teamwork.
That was half and half.
We ripped the card in half.
All right.
All right. Let's see. What's the count? What you got?
4
4.
to 4. Hey.
4.
Well, 3.5.
4.5.
Well, you got 4 too.
No. Oh, okay. So
You
4
got
and a
4,
half.
4.
Oh, yeah.
And then they
Four
said,
and a half.
it's a tie.
That's awesome. Hey.
I love it. I like when we end like this.
That's so cool.
That was awesome, man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to get this game from my house.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, that really tests your thinking skills.
Yeah, yo.
Right.
That was fun. Thank you guys.
Thanks for having me.
I do have one last question I have to ask every single guest before I say goodbye and share your info. I have this belief that creative people are superhumans. We are not of this world. We do things that other people can't even fathom in their minds. And we turned it into something tangible that people can see and experience. So for you guys, what is your superpower?
What is
My superpower.
That's a good one. I would say if I had to narrow it, maybe inspiration. Because I feel like words of affirmation I'm really good with. I think using words to create good feelings and energies. You know what I mean?
Okay, that's
Manipulating
good.
words to literally make people feel better. I guess, or more inspired. Yeah.
I like that. I see like an energy force coming like vroom, vroom, with your words like spewing out. Yeah.
Right. I say mine would be loving, caring, nurturing. So mine would be like the super nurturer. She will care for you when you're in need. If you're sad, she'll give you a hug.
She will care you villains all the way out of your badness.
Yo, that's the work.
She'll
right
throw
there.
hearts at you.
That's the work right there.
So that's mine.
You're like a Care Bear. Like,
there we go.
There you go.
I love it. Oh, I'm so excited. You guys are amazing.
Thank you.
Before we say goodbye, please let the audience know where they can find you.
Yes, for me, you can find me on Instagram, which is _light_x_bright. That's LIGHT. The letter X bright BRIGHT __. I'm also on YouTube as well. You can look up my most popular poem, which is you can look up Light Bright, and it's called Here I Go. Nice. So you can find me on YouTube as well.
Amazing.
Everything's under my name, Dennis Amadeus, DENNIS AMADEUS. Instagram, Twitter, website. I got YouTube videos on my YouTube. I have separate videos on my Instagram, like my, what do you call those? The Instagram stories. So if you want to go through catalogs of poems, you can find it on all those YouTube and Instagram where you'll find most of the poems.
Amazing. Make sure that you follow them.
Yes.
Make sure you watch the videos. Give them those views. Yes. Like it, comment, share. Yes. All right? Because that is how these amazing people are going to be shown to other people. That's really the best way. So support the best way you can. And, a lot of this support is free. So come on, get to it. Speaking of free support, why don't you head over to the YouTube channel and subscribe to the Rose Garden events so you don't miss any episodes of the JRose Experience. You can also follow us on IG at JRose Experience, and you can follow me as your host at My Crumbled Thoughts. You already know. And thanks for tuning in, guys. Have a wonderful day and keep growing. Peace out, guys.
Later.
Can I get a yard?